Let's Get Down to Business is presented by Bravo, the marketing arm of Ash Brokerage Corporation, the practice enhancement company. All this week, it's the top sales ideas for 2013, and on today's show, how to sell retirement, the new Retirement Alpha with mortality credits. And with me today, top of the table, an MDRT platform speaker, Tom Hagna. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to the show, Tom.
Thanks, Steve.
Hey, if you missed yesterday's show, you need to hop back out to downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com because I think you need to know that show first before we talk about this. So it's a building block experience, and we want to have you a good tutorial experience when we're doing this. Let's talk about Alpha. I'm sorry, Tom, but honestly, in our industry of non-FINRA fixed products, we just don't talk about Alpha. It seems like a security term. Talk a little, introduce us to this concept.
So alpha is a measurement of outperformance of any investment. I would say that Warren Buffett brings alpha to his portfolio because Warren Buffett's portfolio does better than the average portfolio. And so anytime you do better than the average, it's called alpha. It's a measurement of outperformance. And what I tie in is that the mortality credits that we talked about a little bit yesterday, mortality credits are a new form of alpha. They're retirement alpha. They're a new measurement of outperformance that I would argue you cannot retire properly without.
Now, when I'm thinking about this, so when my client says, you're outperforming, what is the measurement? What's the reference point? Is it the longevity risk I'm talking about? Is it how long my income will last? Is that what the new alpha is? Or is it exclusively, like our discussion yesterday, mortality credits?
Well, it's a new form of outperformance, and however you want to rate it against, I mean, you could rate it against if you were doing an S&P 500 and you're making a withdrawal of 3 or 4%, this will beat that, okay, over time. If you're trying to, come up with some other way, you cannot manufacture mortality credits. Only a life insurance company can manufacture mortality credits, and I argue it's a new form of alpha. So let me say this. Imagine a 70-year-old couple, okay? Let's just think of a 70-year-old couple. Where is this 70-year-old couple supposed to find any alpha in today's market? Are they going to get any alpha from their CDs? No. Are they going to get any alpha from their bonds? No. Are they going to get consistent, reliable alpha from the stock market? No. What is a 70-year-old couple supposed to do? They're supposed to come to us and get the new alpha, retirement alpha. It's these mortality credits that only a life insurance company can manufacture.
Now, let's just make sure that everybody's on the same page because I think this is exciting. When I'm looking at mortality credits, they're snapping a timeline for the client, whoever the insured is. They say, okay, let's say he's going to live 87, 88 based on his health or whatever, however they come to that conclusion. So they're now assigning a credit. We already know what the portfolio's making. We already know what the interest rate's generating. But now we're on top of that. And in addition, we're adding these mortality credits. The older we get, this is what I heard you say yesterday, kind of, the older we get, the bigger the credits start to go up, the shorter the timeline.
The older you are, the longer you live, the fewer guarantees. So the older you are, the longer you live, the fewer guarantees, the more mortality credits you get paid. Now, some people say, what are mortality credits? Well, Steve, I was thinking you might be asking me that. So let me tell you a little story. There were 5 ladies, 5 90-year-old ladies who went on vacation. One year, one lady said, hey, let's each put $100 in this box. We'll tape up the box, and next year when we go on vacation, we'll bring the box, and those of us who are still alive, we'll open the box and we'll split the money. They said, Helen, that's a great idea. So you got 5 90-year-old ladies. They each put $100 in the box. It's $500. They taped up the box. What do you think happened the next year? They forgot where they put the box. No, I just made that one up. No, unfortunately, one lady's died. So now they go on vacation again. They open the box. Each lady gets $125 because only 4 of them open the box. That's a 25% rate of return. I got 2 questions to ask you. How much of that money was invested in the stock market? 0. What interest rate did it earn that taped up the dusty old box? 0. How did they get paid 25% with no money in the market, no interest rate? It's because they got paid mortality credits. So now the lady looks at this. She looks at her brokerage account. She said, this is a pretty good deal. I think we ought to do it again. So they put it back in the box. They decided to let it ride. The next year, one more lady died. Now 3 ladies split the $500. They each get $167. That's a 67% return in 2 years. No money in the market, no interest rate. Why? Because they got paid mortality credits. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. You're saying, yeah, but Tom, I don't want my money to disappear when I die. I got kids, I got grandkids. Hey, if you buy a lifetime income annuity, do you got to buy the one where the money disappears when you die? No. Less than 8% of all lifetime income annuities are life only where the money disappears. 92% of all people want a guarantee. All lifetime income annuities pay mortality credits. The older you are, the longer you live, the fewer guarantees, the more mortality credits you get paid. And every check you get from a lifetime income annuity is composed of 3 parts. Principal, that's the orange box. Anybody can get that for you. Interest, that's the gray box. But only a life insurance company can manufacture mortality credits. This is that new form of alpha right here that you can't get from anywhere else. Stocks can't do it, bonds can't do it, CDs can't do it. Only a life insurance company can manufacture mortality credits.
Okay, so let's just make this in practical terms for consumers.
Yeah.
If I have the Guinness Book of World Records, Jean Clement lived to 121 years and 160 something days. If one of our proposed insured buys an annuity, now they're the policy insured, and they live to 121 and they break the record, they're getting that payment every single year.
Paycheck every single year, no matter how long they live. And look, at age 100, it's almost 100% mortality credits. At age 100, they just keep getting these mortality credits for the rest of their lives.
And that is that a contractual guarantee, not a current company practice?
That is a contractual guarantee.
Okay, when you have clients, you've been in this client, you were retail for a long time with a venerable New York life. And I'm just trying to think of, when people see this, they really get this. This is pretty easy for a consumer to understand.
It's very easy. And, you know, one of the objections I get is, well, Tom, we're in a low interest rate environment. Well, you'll notice that the gray part is the interest. The interest rates matter the less and less the older you get. So somebody who's 85, their interest is only a very small part of their check. So interest rates could double. It's going to hardly affect their check. Whoops, I just did that. So the key is principal, interest, and mortality credits, and interest rates matter less and less. Mortality credits matter more and more the older you are.
And when you teach this, remember, Tom is teaching advisors, right? I mean, this is a big point. He's teaching the mortality mechanics of credits and how they work for this new thing you call alpha, and yesterday's term, which I love, optimized retirement. Optimal. When we come back from the break, we're going to continue to talk about mortality credits and the impact it has on income that you can't outlive. And don't forget, you can view Tom's sales videos right out there on his site, tomhagnondemand.com. And while you're online, also sign up for our 30-day free trial offer for Backroom Technician. Just go out to the site, brtnow.com/trialsignup.aspx. We'll be right back with more from Tom Hagna right after the break. Back in the day, life insurance professionals were called field underwriters. Then, carriers trained their field force in the basics of life insurance underwriting. Today, the insurance industry doesn't educate the agent population as they once did. But now you can have the Informed Risk Guide at your fingertips so you can illustrate a reasonable rate class for your life insurance prospects. Just request your copy of the Informed Risk Guide at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. It's free from Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back. I'm Steve Savant with Tom Hagna, and remember, you can watch all our episodes of Let's Get Down to Business, including my weekly consumer show, Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game, right at ashbrokerage.com. And just click on the show logo, it'll take you right out to our homepage. And just a heads up, before moving forward with any of the ideas on the show, always consult your tax advisor or legal counsel, as well as your broker-dealer compliance officer. Well, let's get down to business. You know what? I'm going to ask you, Tom, I'm going to have you to punt a bit. I want you to go back to that slide we were looking at the first segment, please.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask you a question because we kind of blew by this. I'm kind of interested now. If the orange is principal, I'm getting that back. Am I not? I'm not paying taxes on this.
You're not paying any tax on
Well, let's talk about this because that's another. I don't want to call it another form of alpha, but it's an advantage. And talk about that. You know, you have mortality credits. I think people are understanding that now the last 2 days. But look about that orange. That's return of principal.
Right.
That's coming back to me. There's some tax advantages to this.
Huge tax advantages because every check you get has a huge tax exclusion ratio. So you might be getting $1,000 a month. Only $300 of that may be taxable because you get your principal. All you're paying tax on is the mortality credits and the interest. And if you've had Curtis Cloak here before, he always talks about retirement alpha as well, and that there's no fee drag on a product like this. On a SPIA, there's no fee drag, okay, which is significant. That you get tax advantages, and then you get these mortality credits. So let me just kind of bring this down. Let's say there's a 70-year-old couple out there. Just think of a 70 or 75-year-old couple. Might be your parents, might be a favorite couple. If I were to ask them this question, I was going to ask them, how much money are you going to leave to your kids? You know, almost say, well, I don't know. I suppose whatever's left over after me and Mabel pass on, that'll go to the kids. That's not a good answer for two reasons. Number one, that's not an efficient way to pass wealth, leaving your wealth as wealth. You should be passing it in a more efficient manner. But number two, in the back of their minds, you know what they're thinking? I got to leave some money to Johnny and Susie. I got to leave some money to Johnny and Susie. And so they never completely enjoy their retirement. And you all know people like this. They're in their 70s. They have money. They just don't spend it. And they kind of live what I call a just-in-case retirement. And so I used to kind of bust them. I'd say, you know, you told me when you retired you're gonna go on a cruise. You're going to join the country club. You're going to buy a boat. You're going to see the world. Have you done that yet? You know, most 7-year-olds will say, no, we haven't done that yet. You know why? Because just in case, just in case. So here's what happens. They don't touch their money. They don't touch their money because just in case. They don't touch their money. They don't touch their money. They don't touch their money. Then they die. What happens to money? Goes to kids. What do the kids do with it? They join the country club. They buy a boat. They go on a cruise. They see the world. See, far better would be to walk into those 70-year-old, 75-year-old people and say something like this. Let's decide today how much money you're going to give to your kids. And for pennies on the dollar, even in your 70s, you can buy a survivorship life policy for pennies on the dollar. So now for pennies on the dollar, that money goes to kids tax-free. What does that free you up to do with all the rest of your money? Spend it. Now you can take life only, joint life only. You can take the maximum mortality credits. That's the new alpha. You use the leverage, the mortality credits of life insurance to go to the kids. And now you're using the maximum mortality credits for income for you and your spouse. That is the new retirement alpha. And that's going to be the title of my book next year. So I'm going to have a book coming out called Retirement Alpha.
When people start to understand retirement alpha and the tax advantages on this principal return, and the longevity of this could go forever, as long as you're alive. I mean, I don't know what medical technology is going to be.
Absolutely.
Who
See,
knows?
if medical technology develops and people start living to be 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, these are guaranteed paychecks for life. Now, some people say, well, if that happens, the insurance companies are all going to go broke. No, they're not, because they're not going to be paying death claims on all their life insurance policies. So yes, they'll be paying lifetime income, but no, they won't be paying life insurance, because the insurance industry is on both sides of that risk. They're the only ones that can take longevity and mortality risk off the table.
And they already have this figured out on their balance sheets.
They got it.
They understand the mechanics of death claims versus making single payments every month.
Right.
Yeah, I think when we start to adopt this new thinking of yours, this optimal, or the newest phrase you just introduced, another one in your book, efficient. Right. Efficient. But people, I look at a lot of income. They're good. It's a good plan. It looks fine, but it's not efficient. It's not optimal.
Right.
This is where you're making the big distinction that these products can optimize and actually do what you had a desire. You wanted to bless your children, but you didn't want to short yourself and have a great retirement. You're bringing up things that are really issues that people have to think through. Now, when we're looking at these contracts, and I was just looking at the one you just have up here, I keep thinking, so the client is now going to age 100. We have people turning age 100 every day. Willard Scott says happy birthday to a handful of Americans. Every day we see this. It's the largest growing demographic in the geriatric market. You know, centurions.
Yeah.
So when we look at this is not far-fetched for boomers, especially these female boomers.
Listen to this, Steve. 50% of married couples will have somebody live to be 92. 25% of married couples will have somebody live to be 97. Just think about it. 25%, that's 1 out of every 4 couples is going to have somebody live to be 97. So this isn't like, oh, well, it could happen to someone down the road. No, it's going to happen on your block to several of your friends or you. And so you've got to take this longevity risk off the table.
I don't know if you've seen the commercial where the facilitator says, there's a big board and it's in a park, and he says, here's your blue dot, and I want you to go out and choose who is the oldest person you know. Yep. And I was surprised that the mountain, the main mountain, was between 88 and 92. I thought it would have been lower. Down the timeline at 79 or 82. It was up.
But there was a bunch in the high 90s too.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a Prudential billboard, and they also have one in New York City. I come out of the tunnel one day, and it says, there's a billboard, the first person to live to 140 is alive today. Wow.
So that's going to happen.
Wow.
That's going to happen.
You got to take longevity risk off the table, Steve.
Well, when you talk about that, you're already on a platform talking age 100 all day long on every single illustration, proposal system, any kind of modeling for income. When we're already down that road, and you say some guy's going to live to 140, he's already born. Wow. Well, that's our show for today. Remember, you can read all my online insurance commentary, advisor blogs, and articles on Producer's Web, as well as my answers to consumer questions on the Insurance Library. And don't forget, you can view all our past episodes on our on-demand section right on downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. So follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or just email me, steve.savant@ashbrokerage.com. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. Steve Savant for Tom Hagna. We'll see you tomorrow.